Okay, happy Monday from Japan. Let's go. If you are a subscriber, go ahead and comment below this video. We got the Timsock TS316. This is a set that was going to go out before I did my new system that I do now. A person that ended up claiming it turned out not to be the actual winner. They said that they don't have a lot of money and they apologize for BSing me, and could I still send it to them? I'll just move along, and the answer was no, and here it is again. I put this up for Patreons and didn't really get a bid that was even 50% if I recall correctly, so this will go out before Christmas. And also today will be a set of Kiwi Ears X HBB Punch will go out today. It'll actually be this final set with actually an upgraded cable, but it won't have the box. That will be a separate giveaway, so I'll be announcing a giveaway today. The person that got the $500 Tigerism Planar, you got tracking yesterday, so we are moving right along. This is a video kind of summing up 2024. Let's go through it. On the right side, you should have a kind of a playlist of what we're going to be doing in order. I like the way that this is, and it gives me some structure. And we're doing the interview, or the intro right now, and we'll move along. The best earphones, let's start with that. I think the best earphones that have been released this year, if money is no object, and this is like watches or other things, it plays music, is it worth $5,000 or whatever the price they're asking for it is? No, but it's the same as a Rolex. But my overall favorite set of earphones in the hobby right now that I would recommend with a library like mine would be the Apex SE. I would definitely say that these are the best earphones that I have in my collection. They stimulated me to sell the Subtonic Storm and really everything else. I have this and the CP622B. So if money is not an object and you really want the best that you can get out there, I think that the APX SE Special Edition is the best that you can get. It's got a planar in the sub bass, and then it's got a DD, and then it's got balanced armatures, and it's a beast of a set. And its presentation, that box right over there, that leather case, is epic. Moving along, best company. I think the best company in 2024 is Thea Audio, and I'm looking at 3 Hype Series sets. Prestige LTD, I believe, came out this year. The Origin, which is an epic set, and then the Valhalla, which is about to come out. Their quality control is pretty top-notch. They take orders first, then they build them, and then they send them out so people aren't really stuck. I'll talk about that later. I think over the years, starting with when Critical S-ranked the original Monarch, which I wasn't a fan of, they've really been putting out really high-quality stuff for a few years now. And their overall collection and stable is, I don't think, matched by any company from any country around the world. You can calculate the bias, but I really think that the buyers and time has kind of borne that out. Thea Audio is quite an impressive company. So I would say they are the company of the year because of the releases they've made. So that would be best company, Thea Audio. Best new company. This is one that's going to make eyes roll. I think that Ziyat is the best new company. And it's partly because they're kind of connected to, in a way, the company I just mentioned, which is Thea Audio. They don't really have quality control issues. They use branded drivers. They have variations in their tuning, so if you don't like bass, if you wanted a set like Jay's Estrella, which is a V-shaped set and lots of bass and lots of treble, you could get that. If you wanted something more stable, you could get something like the collaboration that was the Arit by Fresh Reviews. If you wanted something that was really meta, that would be the Arcadia that I just did for $199. They've got their own stuff that they're releasing as well. All of it is competitive in its pricing. And again, the customer service is competitive with any other seller out there. I think this company and Kefine are the two that I would consider to be the best of 2024. Now, moving down to the next one. The worst company of 2024. I think it's absolutely without a doubt Fat Frequency. This is a whole video in itself, so I won't get into it. But there's stuff that a lot of you probably don't even know about. And I'm just going to mention one thing. I reached out and I wanted to get an explanation of what was behind the logistical disaster, and the reply that I got was more related to offensive and more communications that they were getting by angry buyers. Just a whole spectrum of obnoxious stuff coming from angry people. But that didn't answer the question about the logistical situation. It almost seemed like a distraction, and there was some words in there that really seemed to be. I'll get into it in another video, but I don't think I don't think I've seen anything like it besides Trinity and LH Labs. And I did a collab with this company, and I said it was I was so excited about it. The commission was 1%. It was $1. I argued to go to 1%. That should have been a big red flag, and now I look back at that and realize what was going on. But I think the worst company of the year goes to Fat Frequency, and it doesn't even hurt anymore. I'm going to be taking them off my list because of reasons that you don't know yet, but I'll explain down the road. So worst company by far. If you're gonna slam on KZ and say KZ did that, lied to their customers, KZ switched this up without telling people, you've got to apply all of that, multiply it times 5, and add more stuff, and then you get to what Fat Frequency did. You really don't understand. Well, I'm sorry, thousands of you do, unfortunately, understand what I'm talking about. Moving on to something positive. I think the best planar earphones, planars have been a phenomenon for about 2.5 years. Really, like there's just tons and tons and tons of them. I think that the best planar, and I want to talk about something else about planars. There are, as far as I know, and I've done over 20 collaborations, and I know a lot. There are 2 factories mainly that produce these drivers. And these are the ones that are found in Campfire Audio and in 64 Audio and really all of the planar-based IEMs that you can buy. And one way to kind of give you a hint is if they were made elsewhere, they would highlight that as part of the promotion. People would investigate that, so they can't play games with that. But when a company, it's so hard to make these little teeny drivers. Do I have one right here? I absolutely always have one. This is my finger, and that's 10 millimeters. Putting together a planar of that size, or 14.2, is kind of difficult. And to tool up and to do it costs money. And then there's the cost and all of those things. So there's reasons that would come from China or a place like that. If you're buying planars, you're really buying shells and dampening because the drivers are really almost identical. I'm sorry, they are identical. They're different variations of the same thing. I think that all of the ones that have come out, I still think the Let's Sure S15 is essentially the same type of driver coming from the same factory as all the other ones, and I think its tuning matches what planars should do. I think the S15 is amazing. I'm going to get dinged. If this world were... So I think the planar is Let's Sure S15. The next one. Best IEM $1,000 range. I think the The Audio Origin is an absolute beast. I think it's absolutely underrated. I really think that it completely... Putting the Origin next to something that costs a lot more money is a sad endeavor, kind of, because you realize that you're paying a lot for the name and also maybe the shell. But because it's not the tuning and the quality of drivers, because the Origin is, I think, the best that you can get in the $1,000 range. I think the next is going to be, I'm going to get slightly negative here, worst trend. I think the worst trend in 2024 is that customer service seems to have become, I don't even know how to explain it. It's gotten worse instead of getting better because of social media and how people will jump on companies like you think that they would pay more attention. I think it's gotten worse than a year previous, and I think they're kind of just... I'm not really sure what's behind the phenomenon, but I don't think customer service is getting better. People that did it good are doing it better than before, but other companies are not seeing it as something that they're is an essential equation to success, which is very unfortunate, and I'll be getting into that in future videos. Worst trend number 2. This bothers me as much or more. Custom balanced armatures are being put in a lot of IEMs. I think Pulla is a company. I don't know if that's even a company. There's a few companies that got these weird names. Hi-Fi Go is selling a couple of them. If Linsol was selling them, I'd be saying the same thing. Custom BAs are, remember, Belzing, I think, took a person from Knowles, left, made their own company, basically took all of the data and some of the equipment and just started manufacturing Knowles BAs on their own. And they got sued and they lost. I believe Knowles won that lawsuit. I believe that was associated with Belzing. They're using custom balanced armatures in a lot of sets now for a couple reasons. One is you really can't see the white papers online, which will tell you the driver being used in the mids versus what the spec sheet says is the ideal for it, like where that is, because that would be related to how much dampening it is being applied, and also the level of common sense that the engineers are using when they're using drivers that maybe were more for the upper mids and treble, but they're putting it in the mids and then they're heavily dampening it. Customer service, quality control, all the things that goes with brands like Sony and Knowles, it goes out the window with a brand that's custom and you don't know it. And also, here's the other thing. If you want to build up an alternative to Knowles and Sony, why don't you put a name on it and then start putting it out there and give it a year or two and see if it sticks? And then just name them and the different thing. I think this custom no-named driver stuff is really, really, really not cool. And you're not getting a deal when you look at nice shells on a puller with a nice cable and a nice case, and it costs $129 or $250. The drivers are the most money in the equation, and they're saving a tremendous amount because they're custom drivers. I don't care if it's tuned good, it still sounds like ass. I don't know why you accept buying gear that has no-name drivers in it. Would you buy a computer that has a generic graphics card because it looks good versus another one? You can't get any specs on it because there's no benchmarks. Why would you do that? Why would you do that with audio replay when the most important part is the final link in the chain, which is the transducers that's literally in your ear? Why would you even play with that? That doesn't make any sense. Next, best influencers. To switch it into a positive mode. I think that the best, looking in the past year and maybe longer than that, I'd say that the two people that I'd recommend this channel really follow and follow regularly, and I don't really mean watch like all of their videos, but if you can get a quick take on what their take was on an item, I think it's worth your time. In a sea full of opinions, there are some people that aren't very or overly swayed by friendships, handshakes, dinners with friends, connections to companies, and two of those are what I'll name today. One is VSG, and you may not know who he is. He does reviews for Tech Power Up. I have a lot of respect for him because, one, my ears and his ears seem to be not radically different. He doesn't seem to be a fanboy of Critical, but he's not a hater either. He's not a fanboy of myself. He doesn't hate me either. He's not a fanboy of Giz Audio. He doesn't hate me either. He's not a fanboy of any company really, but he doesn't hate any either. He seems to give legit, balanced takes, and it doesn't seem to ever. He touched on the fat frequency stuff that just came up a few days ago, and what are they going to do? Not send him stuff? I mean, it'll get to him eventually. He is bulletproof, really. Or I don't really know what the deal with him is, but it's a very nice, welcome thing, and I think a lot of people don't understand how good he is at his job. He takes pictures of everything that's on the inside, he breaks it down, and he gives comparisons and suggestions of other things that might be more matching to the person reading that review in that price range. So I think he's excellent. The other one would be somebody I mentioned recently, and that would be Resolve. Resolve from headphones.com has said things over the past 3 years that I haven't heard from anybody else, and they immediately are reminding me of what I said, but in a different way. He's got a more mature vocabulary when it comes to explaining audio gears, but his ears are excellent. He works for a seller, but they fully disclose that all the time. They talked about their payment structure system and how it's not related to how many units they sell. They've crapped on stuff they sell and praised on stuff they don't. So you got an educated, articulate guy that, to my ears and experience, sounds like he's got good ears, probably the best in the hobby. And he doesn't seem to have any need to do anything for anybody. I think he's kind of friendly to Crin, but he's literally very friendly with Kryn, and I think he respects him probably more than any other reviewer. And he's not a robot. Bias is going to creep in, but I think he does as good a job as anybody at keeping that in check, or at least telling you that. So if there are two people out there and you don't have a lot of time, I would suggest that VSG from Tech Power Up and Resolve from headphones.com are probably about as trustworthy as you can get in this hobby. And remember, there's no robots. You don't want AI and robots in this, but the emotion is there. The ability to keep it in check and not to damage other people's wallets because you can't control your inner emotions or admit to them. VSG, Resolve. I would pick those two. Next is going to be the best affordable IEM. I think the Kefine Delcy, this is probably going to stun a lot of people. Kefine is not a Linsol brand. I don't know who has it, but I asked directly to them and they said no, which means they don't get as much profit and they're not in control of it. So full disclosure on the positive and the negative. This is, I don't know who this benefits, but it's not Linsol. But I legit think the Kefine Delcy for $59, if that's sub $100 and a single DD is what you really like, I think that is an excellent set. It's well built, it's well tuned, it's not going to break on you. The QC doesn't seem to have an issue. They're using PET Mylar with a diamond-like coating on it, so it's a good driver. It sounds like a good set. I think it's probably the best you can get sub 100 with all things considered. Consistency, quality control, overall tuning out of the box, ability to take EQ. I won't get into that, but it does all of that. And then the final thing will be the best walkaway set. If you have a limited budget and $1,000 isn't something you're ever going to consider, and I thought about this, but it's not my earphone of the year, but I would say that at $359, the Zenz T Pro, which is a 2DD 6BA, I believe, for $359, is a set that a lot of people could spend less than $500 and then walk away, and it will really play all of your genres. It might do some better than others, but I think it's a legit multi-genre. Put it on shuffle and go and get high quality replay. You'll get the drops and the low frequency. Female vocals sound good. It's really not lacking in any way. The build quality is excellent. It's a fantastic set. If you don't have a lot of money and $500 is a lot, but you would spend it maybe one time, a set that I would really recommend that you consider carefully or checking out reviews on. And I have no idea what VSG or Resolve said, but go check out what they said. I think they did a very good job with that set. And if people come along and say, yeah, I bought that and that was good enough for me, I could get that. I could get that completely. That's my list for 2024, but I will be doing one more video for my favorite set of the year. I said that the best earphone is the APX SE, if money is no object, but the best set overall, price to performance, considering the QCs and QAs and all of the things that you should consider, like when you're buying a car or expensive computer or home. I'm going to name my set, which was something that I think Super Reviews has been doing for a couple of years. I think he calls it the Earphone. So I'm going to do my version of that because why not? And that's it. I'm out. Don't forget the TS316. Somebody commented 100 times under a video because they really wanted a set. And I believe it's the one I just said, the Zenz T Pro. And you're never going to win if you do that. Anyway, TS316. Patreons didn't quite go up to the number, and the first person that won this was not legit and admitted it. So there's that. So he wasn't a complete total fraud. But that's it for this one. You guys have a good couple days, and I'll see you in a couple days. And I am out.